Good evening and Om Shanti. So, we talked about how we should go by our conscience, and when we tell lies or when we choose to get upset or when we choose to feel bad or see something as wrong or right or good or bad, then we get a feeling inside us which is not comfortable. And we were talking about how we should choose peace, choose truth, choose happiness. And we also discussed that happiness is not in getting something or in the situation. It is about how you think about the situation. But today, we will learn how to stop, observe, and switch. So, what do we need to observe in any situation? So, first we will understand what do we need to observe and then how to switch. So, let me ask you one question. You experience a lot of feelings. You experience events, you experience behaviors. Where are they all happening? Are they happening there or are they happening here? Where is everything happening? Is it happening there or is it happening here? How many of you say it's happening here? Please raise your hand. Okay. It's all happening here, right? So something is happening outside, but you project it inside and then you experience it. If you don't project something inside, then you don't experience it. Yes, so this is something that we need to understand. Now, something is there, but when you are experiencing it, it is happening here. And from there to here, there is a projection involved. Yes, you are projecting a behavior or a situation from the outside onto the inside. And when you are doing that, in doing so, your perception is involved. You remember we discussed about perception in the first class? So, you don't see what is, you see your version of what is. You don't see situations or people or events playing out. You see your version of whatever you think is being played out. Right? For example, we took so many events in the last classes. For example, that notebook being found in your friend's bag. And we understood that everybody had a different story about it. Now, the story that you create is your story of the reality. Yes? So, what you experience is a product of your story of the reality. It's not about the reality, it's about your version or your story of the reality. Does it make sense? Yes, so whatever you experience is always done on the inside, and for anything on the external to become an experience on the inside, there is a projection involved, and in that projection, your perception, your perspective, your attitude, your personality, they play a role. And then what you experience is your version of whatever is happening outside. Now, do you know just like all other things, you also have a version of you in your mind. Yes? So, you see yourself in a certain manner, and whatever you see yourself as is based on what? Like, you have a certain self-image, or you have a certain perception about yourself. You think about yourself in a certain way. And what are the factors that influence how you view yourself? Is the question complicated? Is the question complicated? Okay, so okay, Adya, you're allowed. So, what I'm asking is, whether you feel good or bad about yourself is based on what? Like, what are the factors which influence the way you see yourself? Think about it and write it in the chat box. Okay, write it in the chat box about what you think are the factors which influence how you view yourself. If someday you are feeling good about yourself, or someday you are feeling bad about yourself, then what are the factors which are influencing how you feel about yourself? What are the factors that make you feel the way you feel about yourself? Whether you feel I'm a good person, whether you feel I'm worthy, whether you feel I'm a success or a failure, or whether you feel I am happy or sad. So what are the factors that influence these thoughts? Where do these thoughts come from? Okay, so just think about it and let me know. So just send it on Brahma Kumari Saket. So this is the login I've used today. Okay. Okay, so I'll read some of the answers that have come. So the answers are state of mind, how the day went, qualities, achievements. Then there is from our brain, then our environment, our performance, thoughts imposed by other people on us. When we get appreciated by someone, when I help anybody, I feel good. Then it depends on the thinking, on our actions, how we actually want to see us, rather how we actually are my overall performance, then determined, success, failures, others' opinions, productivity. So these are some of the answers that have come. So now you see that how you view yourself is sometimes based on how other people talk to you, or other people behave with you, or other people see you. Now let me give you a small example. Suppose you get all dressed and you step out of the house, and then you meet 5 friends, and each of them tells you, "Are you sick? You don't look very well today. Are you keeping well? Is your health okay?" Then what happens? You start feeling sick. With each opinion that comes to you, you start feeling, oh, is something not right with me? Am I really looking ill? Am I not looking fine? Do I have some stress lines on my face? So you start feeling this because other people are telling you that about how you're looking. Yes? Then sometimes maybe you are a good student and you are working hard, but in 3 consecutive tests you didn't get good marks. Yes? And that can happen even if you're well prepared. Yes? Even if you tried hard and you were well prepared, you didn't get good marks for 3 consecutive tests. And then you start creating this thought, oh, I didn't get good marks, so probably I'm not a good student. Yes? And will you like to tell me whether when you create this thought, I'm not a good student, does it add to your efficiency or does it lower your efficiency? When you think about yourself as a good student, do you perform better? Or when you think about yourself as a bad student, do you perform better? Which one is true? If you think about yourself as a good student, do you perform better? Or if you think about yourself as a bad student, do you perform better? So see, all of you agree that when you think about yourself as a good student, you perform better. So basically, but you know what? Most people believe that if you think low of yourself, then you'll perform better. So sometimes people will tell you that don't think so high of yourself, or you should have humility and think that you are no good. And when we go to the temples also, we sometimes say main murak phalkami, main sevak tum swami. So we sing these prayers so and tell ourselves that we are less than who we are. So sometimes people suggest that we should think of ourselves as less than who we are, and that's a good idea. But the thing is, we shouldn't think of ourselves as high and mighty, and we shouldn't think of ourselves as less than who we are. We should think of ourselves as good, noble, worthy, and that's good enough. And if we think of ourselves as less than, then we perform less than what we are capable of performing. Does this make sense to you? Yes, so if you think of yourself as ugly, then you will feel that you are not good enough, and then your confidence will go low. If you think of yourself as a failure, then your performance as a student will go low, because you are not in your self-esteem, or you are not thinking well of yourself. So this is what I want you to understand, that depending on the messages that you get from other people, and depending on the messages that you get from your past actions, sometimes you start feeling low about yourself. And when you start feeling low about yourself, then what happens is your efficiency decreases. It doesn't increase. Right? Now, do you sometimes put other people down? Your younger siblings, or maybe your friends, and you try to point out that you are not as good as you think you are? Yes, do you do that? Everybody does that, I'm sure. At least with siblings, everybody does that. So you do that, and you tell your younger siblings, or you tell your friends that you are not good enough, and you try to point out their mistakes instead of their good things, whatever good they have in them. So instead of pointing out their specialities, you sometimes point out what is bad or wrong with them. And when you do that, what you are doing is you are depleting their self-esteem, and you are lowering their efficiency, and therefore it is bad karma. Right? So even if you have to point out to somebody's mistakes, what you have to do is you have to first know that a person is not defined by one mistake. So first remember this one rule, that even if somebody did something wrong, even if somebody spoke something wrong, even if something wrong happened for once, that doesn't define that person. So you should be able to see beyond that one act, and you should be able to see the goodness in that person, which is not limited to that one incident. And when you see the good in them and you appreciate them, and then you point out that one thing which may have gone wrong, then that person is in a position to correct it. Yes? So even when you have to give a correction to somebody, you should first see what is good in them and then correct them. For example, if you came to class and I only saw what is bad in you, I didn't see what is good in you, would you like to be with me? Would you like to be with me? No. Nobody likes to be with people who only see the bad in them, right? So just like you don't like people who only see the wrongs or the shortcomings or the mistakes that you made, similarly, you should also not focus on other people's mistakes only. You should focus on the good in them. And similarly, you should also focus on the good in yourself. For example, even if you made a mistake, even if something went wrong, that one act does not define you. You are still worthy, you are still good, and you still have hope, and you can cross it and do better. So that is something you should know about yourself. So first thing is, even if people give you their peace of mind and tell you that this is wrong with you, that is wrong with you, okay, if you feel that something needs to be corrected, you correct that in yourself. But do not lower your self-esteem. If 5 people tell you you are bad, you don't have to lose hope in your goodness. Yes? Are you suffering from this phenomena? That because people constantly keep giving you negative messages about yourself, maybe about your talent or your performance or your looks or something else, then when you keep getting those negative messages, is it bogging you down, and do you feel that I'm not good enough because people keep telling this to me? So maybe some teacher caught you doing something and then they misinterpreted it and they made an allegation, and does that make you feel bad to think that that teacher thinks ill of you, and then you lose your self-esteem because of that? Does this sound familiar? Do you feel this? How many feel this? Raise your hand. Yes, so quite a number feel this, and this is what happens. So we can't stop people from having their own ideas. We can't stop people from voicing their opinions. But what we need to understand is, we don't have to lose faith in ourselves just because somebody else doesn't have faith in me. Okay? Now, another thing is, when somebody tells you something, it's not that you have to completely ignore it. For example, if your teacher tells you something, or your parents tell you something, or some message is coming from a friend, or something is coming from someone else, what do? You see that message as their opinion and then check it. Check and see whether it rings a bell in your heart. Okay? So when somebody is giving you a message, don't take it as a label, take it as an opinion. So don't accept that I am like this, but take that opinion, check it within yourself, and see if it rings a bell. If it is ringing a bell inside and you feel that yes, this is something that I did wrong, then you correct it, because you can correct your actions, you can correct your behavior, you can correct things that you did wrong, but don't let it define you. So if you made a mistake, and you feel that yes, somebody pointed it out to you, so you take that opinion and you correct it within yourself. And if you feel that it doesn't ring a bell and no, you were fine and they misinterpreted it, then leave it. So you have to take everybody's opinion, check it, accept what you feel needs to be corrected, and if it doesn't need to be corrected, then you have to just let it go, but don't let it define you. Now, do you understand when I say don't let it define you? What am I saying? What do you understand by this phrase when I'm repeatedly saying that you check it, correct it, but don't let it define you? What do I mean by that? Please write privately what you are able to understand from this. What do you understand by this? So some people have written, don't let it impose on you or burden you. That means don't let people recognize you by it. Don't stick to that comment, just analyze it. We are much more than others' opinion about us. That don't make it master ourselves, like maybe don't get defined by the words used by people. Their opinion will not change us, we will still be who we are. To not think in that way about yourself and focus on what you really are, that is your good qualities. Don't think much about that, don't take it to your heart, cherish the positiveness rather than negative comments, because as long as people have mouths, they'll keep talking. Okay, don't let one mistake pull you down and give others the idea that mistake is what we are. Don't make it as a quality or don't make it as habit, and don't let people judge you by that. Don't get affected. Okay, fine, thank you. So what I mean is, you and your behavior, okay? So your behavior is a one-time thing, and even if you made a mistake, you did it once and it can be corrected, right? So let's take two words. I made a mistake and I am a mistake. I made a mistake and I am a mistake. Okay? I did a bad action and I am a bad person. These are two different things. Yes? I made a mistake is a one-time phenomena and I can correct it and not do it again. But I am a mistake is something you label on yourself and you live with it for the rest of your life. I did a bad action is a one-time thing and I can correct it, but I am a bad person is something I take on as my identity, and then it defines my future actions. Okay? So if you made a mistake, then let it be a thought that okay, I made a mistake and I won't make it again. Okay, if you feel that somebody gave you a comment and that comment is true and you agree with them and you feel that yes, I made a mistake, then you take that comment, know your mistake, correct it. Life is all about correcting and reforming and growth. What is life about? Correcting, reforming and growth. And do you know how many opportunities we have for correction, reformation and growth? Every second is an opportunity. How many seconds do you have in a day? Calculate it, okay? And those many opportunities for growth and improvement you have every day. So Nothing in the world, nothing in life can't be corrected. Everything can be corrected. If something happened, you can correct it the next moment. Anything, something as gross and bizarre as something you can't even imagine happened, it is not incorrigible. Write a sentence, nothing in life is incorrigible. Incorrigible means that which cannot be corrected. Okay, so everything is in life can be corrected. Even if something happened, you got bullied, you got beaten, something happened, some worst tragedy happened, you got the worst marks that you could get, it's okay, you can move on, you can correct it. How much time does it take? It takes 1 second. But if you lose yourself, which is you take on that one action and let it define you, that happened, and then you take it on yourself and say, I am a bad person because I did that, or I am a bad person because they told me that, then you can't correct yourself, because you can correct what you did, you can't correct who you are. Okay, so if you are fine, then everything can be corrected. Fine. So who are you? Okay, so those things are what you did. Sometimes you do the right thing by mistake, sometimes you do the wrong thing intentionally, sometimes you do the wrong thing by mistake, sometimes you do the right thing intentionally. Okay, so all those things will go on, but sometimes we are not able to correct ourselves. That is because we have lost confidence in ourselves. Yes, if you let your mistakes define you, then you will not be able to correct yourself, because then your action has become bigger than you. If your action becomes bigger than you, then you can't correct it, because you can correct something which you are bigger than. Okay, does it make sense? So you don't have to let anything define you. If there are 100 people telling you you are not good enough, okay, maybe they have a reason, and maybe they are not okay with something I did, so I can correct it, but that doesn't make me a bad person. This is something that you should know about yourself. So this is something that you should know about yourself. Now write down certain words. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am pure. I am good. I deserve good. I am happy. I am powerful. I can win. Okay, so, and these things that you wrote, please read it out to me. Please say it loudly. Say it loudly, even if I can't hear you. Say it loudly. I'm worthy, I'm pure, I'm good, I deserve good, I'm powerful, and I can win. Okay? Even if the worst situations come in your life, never forget who you are. You are this. You are this. Okay? And even if your past experiences tell you, or other people tell you that you are not this, don't allow them to reinforce it on you by repeating this to you. You know, you don't hear anybody's words. You hear what you repeat to yourself. So if somebody says you are a failure, you repeat in your mind, no, I'm a winner. You don't have to tell that to them. It's okay. they can have their opinion, but you don't lose your faith in yourself that you are a winner. So this is something that you need to know, and you need to know that whatever comes to me, okay? So we talked about how everything is happening inside. So when when people come to you, when situations come to you, when something is happening on the external, they have a certain energy. Yes, they have a certain energy. Some situations are scary, some situations are fearful, some behaviors are rude, or they put you down, or they have this kind of an energy. But do you know, actually every situation is just a situation, every behavior is just a behavior. The fear, the fury, the sadness, the anger, the inappropriateness, whatever you feel is inside, right? So when something comes your way, now you should know that any energy that is coming your way, you can do three things with it. First is reflect it back. Second is absorb it. And third is transform it. First is reflect it back. Second is absorb it. And third is transform it. What does this mean? Somebody is being rude to you. What you can do is you can reflect it back. You can also be rude to them. Yes? This is what we usually do. Somebody is rude, you are also rude to them. So this is the first option that mostly we choose. Now, it's like when you throw a ball on a wall and it just bounces back. So this is the kind of behavior we sometimes exhibit. So you are like a wall. If somebody throws something at you, you reflect it back. Are you a human being or are you a wall? The difference between a wall and a human being is, a human being can transform energy, a wall cannot. If you throw a ball at a wall, the wall will give the ball back to you. But you can give flowers. Yes, even if somebody throws stones, you can give flowers. That is the capacity you have. But mostly we don't use that capacity, and what we do is we reflect back exactly what is given to us. So this is the behavior that we usually show, which is reflect back whatever is given to us. Now, somebody tells you you are not wearing a good dress or you don't look good enough. What do you say? Have you seen what you are wearing? Yes? So did you see yourself in the mirror today? You look worse than me. Yes, this is what you do. And what happens is, if you do that, do you feel good about yourself? Yes, for a moment. But then do you know, if you keep doing this for a long time, this becomes your personality. This becomes your personality. So let me tell you a rule. If you focus on people that you hate, if you let your behavior be guided by those people's behavior which you find wrong, then you become a carbon copy of those very people in no time. So if you are always with a friend who is rude and you are constantly giving it back to her, then what happens is, slowly, gradually, you become a very good replication of that friend. Yes, have you seen that happen? The company you keep starts coloring you. So if you are with a person who is usually rude and you are responding to that person by being rude, yes, then what happens is they stay rude and you also become rude. So they don't change because that's their quality, but you change for the worse. So if you keep reflecting whatever is being given to you, then the person who is giving that energy to you won't change. The situation won't change, but on the contrary, if you keep doing this for a lot of times, your personality will change. So you should know that whatever you repeat many times becomes your personality. Okay, so if somebody is criticizing you always and you are criticizing their criticism always, you do this? You do this? So somebody is telling you you're not good enough, this is not good, that is not good about you, and you do this wrong and that wrong, and you keep saying in your mind, even if you are not in a position to tell them upfront, what you keep doing in your mind is, okay, I'm not good and I'm not good, and have you looked at yourself, you don't do this right and you don't do that right, and the other day you did this and I don't think you should be very proud of it. And when you keep doing this in your mind, then you are also creating a tendency of criticism. It may look like that person is the only one criticizing, but actually now there are two people with the same tendency. Does that make sense to you? Yes, so now it's not about just them, you have also joined them in their sanskar, in their tendency, and then you have become the same. So yes, then what do we say to them? You don't have to say anything to them, you have to say it to yourself. That okay, they have a sanskar, they have a personality of criticizing, that's their personality, but I refuse to take it. So you just have to shut yourself down from here, and you don't have to take that energy. But for that you need to know what are the other two options. So first one is reflect back, second one is absorb. So you know what we do sometimes? We don't give it back to them, but we absorb that energy and we start feeling low about ourselves. Yes, sometimes we don't create thoughts about the other person being bad, but if somebody says you are not okay, we take it and we keep churning it in our mind, and we create a sense that yes, I am not okay. So you absorb that energy and you let it define you. Yes, you let it color your feelings. So this is also not a very healthy way of living, because if you keep absorbing everybody's negativity, soon what will happen is all your positivity will be lost. Right? So there is a third option, and the third option is you can transform it. You can transform it. You can change that energy. But how will you change something? Only when you have the opposite of it. Only when you have the opposite of it. What is the opposite of criticism? What is the opposite of criticism? Please write on your chat box. What is the opposite of criticism? Okay, so there are so many good words coming up. So there is love, appreciation, praise, supporting, compliment, encouraging, okay, motivation. So you know the opposite of criticism. So if somebody is criticizing you, how can you change that? How can you transform that? If you have the energy of appreciation, if you have the energy of love within you. Yes, do you have enough love inside you? Even if somebody is bad and rude and mean to you, can you still be loveful to them? Can you still be loveful to them? Can you still create a thought, okay, they are who they are, but it's okay, they're still fine? Can you create this thought? Is it possible? Maybe you don't have it right now, but is it possible? Can you conceive of that idea? Yes. So basically, it's not about how critical they are, It's about your low energy of love that you're not able to transform. So what you need to do is, you need to just up your game. You don't have to pull others down. You don't have to react. You have to respond. Now, what is the difference between reaction and response? So your action not depending on the other person's action is response, right? So even if somebody is mean, somebody is rude, you can still create an energy of love. That is your ability to respond. Okay, and that can happen only when you have enough love within yourself. Okay, now let's find out certain opposites. What is the opposite of fear? What is the opposite of fear? What is the opposite of fear? So there is so some people are writing courage, some are writing fearless, some are writing brave. But do you know what is the opposite of fear? The opposite of fear is love. The opposite of fear is love. So when somebody is scaring you, yes, are you scared of some people? Yes? No, you're not scared of somebody. Are you scared of parents and teachers and somebody else? So when you are scared of somebody, in moments when you love them, you're not scared of them. Have you seen? When you are very much in love with them, when there is a situation where your love for them is very high, then your fear goes away. Have you seen that? Yes, on days when you love them, you're not afraid. So when mom shouts at you, sometimes you're scared and sometimes you just hug her and then everything goes okay. So what calms her down? It's your energy of love. So it's basically the opposite of fear is love. What is the opposite of what do you say, stress? What is the opposite of stress? What is the opposite of stress? Peace. Yes. So the opposite of stress is peace, calm. So when there are situations which are making you stressed, which is those situations have a possibility of triggering stress in you, if you have enough peace within you, you will be able to transform that energy and stay peaceful in that stressful situation, right? So what you have to do is, you do not have to change the situation, you do not have to change the behavior, but you have to change the quotient of peace, love, purity within you. Okay, so let me give you, I told you about 7 things which constitute soul power yesterday. So knowledge, purity, peace, happiness, bliss and power. If you are able to increase the quotient of these things, then you don't have to worry about controlling situations and people's behavior, because then you will have the ability to transform. You will have the ability to transform. Have you ever felt that even if you wanted to cheat somebody or you had the intention of lying to somebody, but that person was so innocent you couldn't think of doing that? Have you come across this kind of a situation? So because that person was very innocent, you couldn't dare to think like that about them. So that is the energy of purity. If you have that purity in you, then you can change people's intentions. Even if somebody has bad intention, when they come to you, their intentions will change. That is the power of purity. Even if somebody is restless or they want to give you a tough time, If you are very peaceful, you can change their energy, and you can also change how you feel in their presence. Right? So this is your ability to transform. Now, how do you do that? How do you increase your quotient of knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, and power? So that you do by meditation. And what is meditation? So meditation is, so you should know that there are in your inner world. So meditation, who meditates? Does the body meditate? Who has to meditate? Does the body have to meditate? Is meditation done with the body? So many people are writing mind, and yes, meditation is done with the mind. It's a mind thing. It's not a body thing. So it's not about how you sit or stand. You can even walk and meditate. So what is meditation about? It's about two things. It's about attention and conscious thinking. Please write this down. It's about attention and conscious thinking. Okay? Now, you have this amazing ability called attention. And what is this ability of attention? See, you can focus on whatever you like, wherever you like, and for however much duration you like. Yes? For example, can we meditate while listening to music? Yes, but not to songs, because you have to consciously think. But if you are listening to certain words, then they will meddle with your conscious thinking. They will put thoughts in your mind. So you can listen to music, but only music, not songs. Fine. Now, so what is attention? Attention is your ability to focus on something for as long as you want to focus on it. Yes? Now you see, where is the past? Do you go into the past? Everybody goes into the past. Don't you go into the past? Kitna rehte ho past mein? Sometimes you go to the past. Where is the past? And how do you go to the past? You just take your attention there on what happened yesterday, and then you start experiencing it. Have you seen that? Yes? And how do you go to the future? You project your attention onto the future and you start experiencing that. Now, how do you experience COVID? By paying your attention to COVID, by paying your attention to the news on COVID, by paying your attention to the people suffering from COVID, and then you start experiencing that. So when you pay your attention on something, then your mind starts experiencing it. Yes? Now, one thing you should know, you can pay your attention to things that you can see, and you can pay attention to things that you cannot see. For example, can you see your past with these two eyes right now? No, but you can pay attention and see that. So your attention goes way beyond your eyes can go. Yes, even things that you can't see, situations that you can't see, you can pay your attention and start experiencing them. Now, where do you have to pay your attention during meditation? You have to pay attention on the one within. Okay? Now you see, these eyes can see what is outside, but you can take your attention to the place behind your eyes. To the place behind your eyes where you are a soul. And the soul is full of these 7 qualities. Okay? So whenever you pay your attention on something, your mind starts experiencing it. So if you take your attention from outside and take it inside and start seeing yourself as a small star behind the eyes, and that star, that soul, has an energy of peace, purity, love, happiness, bliss, power. And as long as you pay your attention on it, I told you the law, wherever attention goes, energy flows and that thing grows. So when you pay your attention on your purity, on your peace, on your love, on your bliss, then it starts growing. And then you have enough of love, peace, purity to deal with the energy that is coming to you. Okay? So there is a place behind your eyes where there is a point of energy, a light which is radiating peace, radiating purity, radiating happiness, radiating power, and you have to put your attention there and let it stay, and just keep experiencing that love, peace, purity until it grows. Can you do that? Is it easy? Is it easy? How many say it's easy? How many say it's easy? Just raise your hand. Okay. Some are saying it's a bit difficult. Do you know why you think it's a bit difficult? Because you are told that it's difficult. How can you know it's difficult even before you've tried? You've not tried it. But you're saying it's difficult. You know why? Because you've heard this. Meditation is difficult. Meditation is difficult. And that's why I told you don't listen to other people. But you're still listening and buying into those messages. And that is why you've come up with this beautiful idea that it is difficult. It is not difficult. Just like you can focus on your, can you focus on your heart? Your heart is here. Yes? Inside the skin. Can you see your heart? No. But can you take your attention to your heart and hear it beat? Let's do that. For a minute, just pull your attention from everything else and take it to your heart. And feel it beating. Become aware of your heart and its rhythmic beating. Om Shanti. Could you do it? How many could do it? Yes, so you are all very good meditators. Who told you are not? So this is the same thing you have to do with you, the soul. So you have to take your attention to not here, but here. Now let's do that. Just pull your attention from everything outside and bring it to the center of your forehead. Become aware of the star a white, pure point of energy. In the center of the forehead. Rays of peace emerge from me, the soul. My face is going calm. I feel calm. And my whole body has started to relax. Om Shanti. Could you do it? How many could do it? Raise your hand. Okay. And do you feel calmer? You feel calm? Yes? Yes. So thoughts lead to feelings. And if you think in this way and you create a visual of calmness, then you start feeling calm. And when you think in a certain way and you feel in a certain way, that starts changing your attitude. So, have you seen that on days when you are very calm, you have a positive attitude towards situations? And when you are not peaceful, you have a negative attitude. Does that happen? Yes? Does that happen? That when you are peaceful, when you are happy about things, then you are positively oriented towards things. So suppose you got a gift someday and you're very happy, then what happens? Even if something is not happening your way that day, then you are able to keep your calm in spite of that thing not happening your way. Does that happen? So, when you think about yourself as a soul, when you focus your attention and experience the peace, the purity, the love, the happiness inherent in the soul, then it makes you feel peaceful. And when you feel peaceful, your attitude is peaceful, your attitude is positive. And when your attitude is positive, you take things positively. And then you perform actions that are positive. Yes? So you don't react, you respond when you are in a more peaceful place within you. And when you respond, the events that follow are different from what they happen when you react. So if you are peaceful, even if somebody is giving you a comment or somebody is giving you a hard time, then you don't mess the situation more by reacting to it. You stay calm, you choose the right words, you show the right behavior. Then what happens is the situation doesn't get worse, it gets sorted out, right? So your thoughts influence your feelings influence your attitude influences your behavior, and your behavior influences how situations and people respond again. So when you are able to change the energy, even if something is coming your way and that is negative, if you are in a peaceful and positive place, you are able to respond positively, and then you are able to change the cycle, because when you respond, they also respond back, right? Okay, so this is how you change the cycle by transforming energy. So let us meditate for some more time, and then we'll finish today's session. So this is about stop, observe, and switch, which means you stop and see how you're feeling, observe your feelings, and then change them by coming to the awareness that you are a soul and you are peaceful, you are loveful, you are happy. So let's meditate for some more time and then we'll finish. Chalo. Sit relaxed. And just watch your mind. Just observe thoughts come and go. Don't intervene, don't resist. Just observe. Allow them to come and go. As you allow them to come and go, they start becoming slower. Now create a thought. I am a peaceful soul. And bring your awareness to the center of the forehead. And see the soul shining. A star shining peacefully in the center of the forehead. White shining rays of peace emerge from me, the soul. My whole face glows. With the radiance of these white, peaceful rays. My mind, my face, my body are all calming down and radiating the energy of peace. Just sit in this feeling for some time. Shanti. Okay, then I will be sending you one episode each every day, and you watch it at your convenience so that you can learn more about meditation. Have a nice time. All the best for your life. Om Shanti.